How's it going? My name is Colton McColgan, and this is my practice speech for my persuasive speech. So the objective of this speech today is simple enough. I am here to persuade you to stop smoking. Now, if this doesn't affect you, or you yourself do not smoke, I still urge you to help those around you give up the habit. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to need your help. So I want you to do me a favor. Can you think of a time where you had to carry on a conversation with someone who has a stoma? Have you ever had to witness someone struggle to move because they had to lug around a giant oxygen tank? Or the worst case scenario, have you ever lost someone due to lung cancer? And in their treatment, witnessed the suffering that they had to endure? Now, if you can say yes to any of these experiences, I do sympathize with you, and I am so sorry you had to experience that. However, I want you to use these experiences as examples of the dangers of smoking. I myself have been smoking for 5 years before I gave it up. So in my speech today, I want to talk to you about the potential damage that I have done to my body. And afterwards, I want to talk to you about the benefits and the increase in quality of life that I have since I gave it up. So to begin with, as I stated, I began smoking about 5 years ago. Now, as many of us know, many smokers begin at a very young age for a vast variety of different reasons. Some of us began smoking to fit in with our group of friends. Others, like myself, picked up the habit to help deal with the stress of our everyday lives. Others only picked up the habit because they were just too bored and had nothing better to do at that time. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter why you started smoking, but at that time, we didn't know the consequences of what we signed up for. For instance, Thorgier and others, who are genetic scientists who were credited with linking nicotine to lung cancer, have stated that smoking is the #1 cause of preventable death in the world. 5 million people worldwide lose their lives prematurely because of their habit. Now, out of this 5 million, 438,000 are here in the US. These are all people that died much sooner than they had to because they didn't want to stop smoking. Now, if these statistics don't bother you or you don't believe them, they are also backed by the CDC when they stated that 30% of all deaths from lung cancer can be related to some sort of complication from cigarette smoke. Also stated by the CDC is that out of all the cases of death caused by heart disease and COPD, 80% of them can be attributed to the side effects of smoking cigarettes. Once again, these are all people who did not have to die. These could have been prevented, but because they didn't want to give up their habit, they ended up losing their lives much sooner than they had to. This leads me into my second topic. These are for the people who go by the whole, this is my body, I can do with it as I please. This is not the case. As stated by the US Department of Health and Human Services, people who come within contact of secondhand smoke on a regular basis are 30% more likely to develop some kind of heart disease or lung cancer. This is especially true in either the very young or the very old. In these aspects of life, the body is going through a vast amount of changes, which leaves it very vulnerable to the hazardous chemicals that can be found in cigarettes. So now that I've gone over some of the harmful effects of cigarettes, I would also like to tell you about some of the benefits that you gain from quitting cigarettes. According to the CDC, once again, not all the damage that we have caused to our body is permanent if caught soon enough. Without the harmful effects of smoking in our lives, your chances of heart disease and lung cancer drastically decrease, which in return means a much longer life expectancy. Now, after just 2 hours of not smoking, your heart rate and blood pressure begin to decrease back to their normal levels. Now, after 12 hours of not smoking, the oxygen levels in your blood begin to increase back to their normal levels. And after just 1 day without a cigarette, your risk of heart attack plummets by about 70%. And from a personal experience, this one caught me off guard. So did you know that smoking deadens the nerves in both your nose and in your mouth? Yet neither did I. However, according to the Cleveland Clinic, after 48 hours of not smoking any substance, your nerve endings in these aspects of your face and nose begin to regrow. Meaning that after 48 hours of quitting smoking, it will seem as if you have the nose of a bloodhound. And those tastes that already taste good will taste that much better. So in summary, I want you to picture a smoke-free world where those 5 million people didn't have to die, where lung cancer will borderline be a thing of the past, as in 90% of the cases today are from cigarettes. And I fear that if nothing is done starting today, that these numbers will only increase, that 5 million will become 6 million. More loved ones will have to lose their lives to lung cancer. And I'm not going to lie to you. Quitting cigarettes was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life so far. But for those of you who think you can't do it, just remember, just because I did it cold turkey and cut it out completely right away, doesn't mean you have to. There are other options you can choose. A lot of people find success in nicotine gum, patches, lozenges. A lot of people are using the prescription drug Chantix to help curb their cravings for nicotine. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter what form of quitting you decide to use, just as long as you are actively trying to quit. Because I can't make that decision for you. That has to be on your own. The one thing I can guarantee, though, is that day you do quit, you will not regret it. And that is all.